Hey guys, Snupy here. So in this video, we're going to be covering all the new changes that just hit the Dragonfly beta for fellow Druids, a bunch of nerfs, tunings, and we're kind of just going to figure out if it's an overall buff or an overall nerf, and just going to talk about how it's going to affect us going into the next expansion. But yeah, starting off, we're going to go through all the changes, and then we're going to make a build using these changes, and then in the very end, we're going to play some arena using this new build. So yeah, that's the plan, and let's dive right into it. Alright, so before we jump into all these changes right here, I quickly want to cover that the tier set just went live on the beta, and we got this right here, actually. This is the tier set. The 2 set gives you 5% more damage on Bite and Rip, which is pretty good, as, you know, those two abilities are a huge part of your damage rotation in general. The 4 set gives you 1% crit per comp point spent for 5 seconds, so 5 seconds, 5% crit for 5 seconds after spending 5 comp points, which is not that great, especially on PvP. I know some classes have like a bit better, more impactful ones. Some classes have even less impactful ones. But it seems Blizzard are trying to like not make the tier sets too powerful, which is understandable. But yeah, so for PvP, I think only going 2 set is the move, as you lose a lot of verse if you want to start using the other pieces, like the legs, for example, crit mastery, or the head, haste mastery, which, you know, don't have verse on them. But yeah, now into the rest of the changes. Alright, so let's dive into it. So rip damage increased by 10%. Oops. Bite damage decreased by 10%. So 10% nerf. Thrash damage increased by 25%. Rake damage increased by 25%. So you see all this stuff right here is kind of weird, because rip damage is buffed by 10%, but here it's nerfed by 10%. All this stuff, shred, swipe, slash, rake, thrash, bite, rip, permaref, is all reduced by 10%, and on top of that, you know, Rip gets a 10% damage increase, so that kind of nullifies that. Bite gets a double 10% nerf here, so 20% nerf from Bite from that. Thrash damage buffed by 15%, as only nerfed by 10 here, and then Rake damage increased by 15%. I think that's actually like a very big thing, because Rake actually pumps now on the beta, if you try it out. But yeah, so the end result of this right here is that Rip damage buffed by 0, Bite nerfed by 20, Thrash buffed by 15, Thrash doesn't really matter, and then Rake buffed by 15. And then next up, we got Convoke the Spirits. So on top of the nerfs to Bite, they're making Convoke the Bites hit as there were 4 comp points and now 5 comp points. So they will just do less damage in that way as well. I see about 12% less. And this is, of course, on top of the 20% damage reduction on Bite. So yeah, right there, you know, you might think that's quite rough, and it is. But the Bites were doing way too much damage. I'd say you could crit for like 150k. So I think Bite nerfs were needed, and I think Convoke should not be like a one-shot thing in PvP. So I think this is fair. But then moving down, we got Tireless Energy. The bonus was nerfed a bit as well. I think energy is not a problem for us in Dragonfly at all, so I don't mind that too much. But now we're getting some interesting stuff. So Sabertooth damage on Bite was reduced to 15%, was 20. So Bite got nerfed by an additional 5% on Sabertooth, but they buffed the bleed part of this, where now your Rip after you Bite is buffed by 5% more damage if you spend 5 comp points on Bite. So up from 20 to 25. Or up to 25 from 20, which is quite nice. So again, going away from big bites. And here we got Dreadful Bleeding. Damage was increased to 20%, was 15. This is just your flat damage on Rake right here. So that's just flat 5% buff on Rake. It's quite nice. Frenzied Assault. This is like the Frenzy Band, pretty much, right here. Got nerfed a bit. I think it's still pretty good. I'm not currently speccing it right now, but yeah, not a bad thing. But it's slightly nerfed. I think it still pumps very hard if you have the uptime on it. And then we have Tear Open Wounds. Effect reduced to 60 was 75. This was a PvE thing mainly. Your PvE Permaref. Rip and Tear. Buffed in a way from 6 to 8 seconds, but it's no longer affected by the Sabertooth bonus to rip. So nerf buff in a way. I think it's better now than it was though, because this lasts for longer, which is very nice. Then Ram Ferocity, that's the AoE bite you have in PvE. Effect reduced to 20 was 25 of a full bite. And then BT actually has been nerfed to 25% now. It was 30. So this is kind of interesting because they buffed Lion Strength, aka Bite Force, a while ago, like 2 weeks ago I think, from 10 to 15. And now the Circ is from 30 to 25. There's only a 10% difference on those two, and this was just a passive. So I think that, like now the choice of going Lion Strength is way more appealing, as you don't lose out on that much damage, and it's not a proc, so you can kind of play more freely with it. So that's quite interesting. Let's continue here though. And then they fixed an issue where Ram Ferocity was reduced by armor. So I think Ram Ferocity overall, so from what I heard, it got kind of nerfed here, but it wasn't working properly, so it's kind of doing still the same damage, I believe. And then fix an issue, double clawed rake to not choose targets for second rake intelligently. So yeah, probably like raking CC targets and stuff, I guess. So yeah, those are the changes overall there. I have like notepad here. It's kind of going over like our base abilities and kind of what happens to them. So we got Rip. Rip overall received a 5% buff, and then also an extra 5% after Sabertooth when he bites for 4 seconds. Which is quite nice. You know, damage on Rip is higher now. Not a bunch higher, but we take what we can get. So Bite actually got nerfed a lot. I think Bites were doing way too much. So this is fairly, you know, it's fair. 20% flat nerf to Bite, plus the 5% nerf to Sabertooth, and the 5% nerf to BT. So yeah, overall, you know, 20 to 30% bites, nerf on Bites, depending on what you're speccing and if BT is procced or not. So Rake got a 15% flat buff. This is actually pretty huge because Rake becomes a real threat now, especially when you have Sudden Ambush as well, which makes you proc Rake as was from Stealth. I've had many games where Rake is my second or even sometimes first damage, third, you know, one of those usually. And then Thrash, also a 15% buff. But yeah, the biggest takeaways in this is Convoke. Not as good as it was. I think it's not horrible now, but the bites in Convoke are not that impactful. You're not going to one-shot someone, which is probably a good thing. And bites, general, doing less damage, but bleeds doing a bit more damage. So if this is a nerf or buff, it's a nerf overall, I'd say, but it's just tuning. So on the beta right now, their tuning class is down. Things are doing way too much damage. So as long as all classes kind of get like good tuning, I think it's going to be very good. But right now, you know, like some classes have received tuning and some classes have not received tuning. So you have Red Paladins doing 100k DPS, and then other classes that have already been tuned feel, you know, that you can't really compete with that. But yeah, here's a clip actually of Atho doing just like the most damage ever as a Red Paladin. Actually, I'm going rogue. Dude. Atlet is one shot on him, man. Oh, yo, I did red or something else. Okay, so overall, again, I wouldn't like really look at it as a nerf. It's tuning. Bite was doing way too much damage, and it's been tuned down. And Bleeds have been buffed a bit, and it's feeling really good. I think we're in a very, very good spot, as long as other classes also get the tuning, which they will. I'm very sure. Surely they will do us justice, Blizzard. So, yeah, pretty much. I made a build now. We're going to play with this build in Arena, but first, I'm going to quickly explain kind of what I'm doing here. So, overall, we're just kind of going away from Convoke, as I don't think Convoke is worth it anymore in PvP. I think it still has use, especially in duels and stuff, but overall, I don't think it is the move. So we're going to some more bleed heavy, very high energy, very high bleed. We got Tireless Energy, Moment of Clarity, Soul of Forest, Katai Curio. This is almost overkill on energy. You got to have very high uptime to get the value, so it is situational. But yeah, with this build, we got Dreadful Bleeding, of course, for the 20% damage on Rip. Infected Wounds for the 30% damage on Rake. And just overall, huge bleed damage. We're trying out Lion Strength some games, BT. These are kind of interchangeable. If I think I can proc BT a lot, I'll play it. If I think I cannot, I'll go Lion Strength. And then we also have Circle and Vein Ripper, which pretty much effectively is a 25% damage on bleeds. as they last 25% longer, but then we make them tick 25% faster. And then, of course, we have our Swarm, our Frenzy, and all that good stuff. So, yeah. Now, into some Soul Shuffle using this build. So, let's see how it goes. There we go. And they have no bleed removal now, which is nice. Fuck, we both miskicked. Ouch. Clone healer. Compala here. Give me. If you have like bleeds up on 2 targets, right? Like rip up 2 targets and then you buy 2, like the rip is buffed on both targets with Sabertooth, which is kind of insane. But it's like kind of hard to achieve that. Leave them both. Leave them both. That's bop and block is good. Go mage for 1 second, actually. So we live. Don't die. Big heal. More heals, more heals. Regen. We're both. Dude, the room. Wait, go in now. Hurricane. Lock him out. Kill. Big bleeds. Yes. Yes, man. Insane. Press wall. Beat him. Get a seal now. Get this. Clones. Maim. Dam's getting high, man. It's getting real high, dude. Kill him fast. Beat him. Nice. This dam is huge, man. I mean, the dam is good overall there. There we go. Yeah, like there. You see, he just like gets all my burst of mana. With a freaking cauterizing flame. He's playing good, this evoker. Get the heal. Nice, okay, good.